Now here's a picture I took through a tinted window in Dubai because I didn't have the dirhams to go to the terrace. And here's how to fix all the blues in here. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose our favorite, curves. Now you don't have to do anything right here. Click on the hamburger menu or the veg sandwich menu if you're a vegetarian. Inside of that, go to auto options. Now pick any of the first three. This will give you access to snap neutral midtones. Let's select the first, check snap neutral midtones, and as soon as you do that, have a look, this is fixed. Or is it? No. Let's try the second one. And there you go. It is fixed. Try the third one and pick any one that you like. I think I'm going to go with the third one. Hit OK and this looks fantastic. Now you can do further arrangements if you want. Just double click on the symbol of the adjustment layer if you don't see the properties. And then let us just increase the contrast quite a bit. Like so. There you go. Looks fantastic. Now, if you do want to add some warmth in the highlights, let us add my favorite color lookup table by clicking on the adjustment layer icon and choosing color lookup. Very easy way of adding warmth. And just choose crisp warm from right here. Adds wonderful warmth. But we only wanted it in the highlights. So how do we limit that? You know it? Blend if. So double click on the right hand side of this layer. This opens up the layer style dialog box. Inside of that, just take this effect away from the dark areas. From the dark areas of what? From the dark areas of the underlying layers or the layers that lie under it. So we're going to play with the sliders of what? The underlying layer. So let's take the left slider from the left to the right like that. It takes it away from the dark areas. Now it might be harsh in some cases. So hold the Alt key or the Option key, click on the slider to break it apart and just make the transition smoother, like so. There you go, it works. Wonderful warmth, and here's the overall before, and here is the after. That's how to make the tint go away. Hi there, this is Unmesh, and today I'm going to share with you 5 easy Photoshop tricks to instantly improve your photo. With 1 down, 4 to go. By the way, presented by PiXimperfect.com. If you want to go ahead and download any of these photos and follow along, you know what to do. Check the links in the description. Now in here, we want to bring more attention towards the subject. The attention goes more towards the brighter areas of the image. So we need to make this brighter or the rest of the areas darker. So let's create a spotlight effect by simply clicking on the adjustment layer icon and choose curves. And then just create a point in the middle and take it down like so. Wonderful darkness around, so we want to leave her out of this darkness before we create a spotlight. This is a 2 light effect. Here's how to do it. Let's come back to the subject layer to have a better selection and then pick any of these 3 tools right here, the object selection, quick selection or the magic wand. And at the top you'll see select subject. Let's click on select subject. Now that we have a selection, we need to come back to the mask of the curves adjustment layer and then just fill this with black. With the foreground color black, you can press Alt, Backspace or Option Delete. There you go. We have left her out of that darkness. Press Ctrl or Command D to deselect. Now you could have also created a selection and then created a curves adjustment layer, but I like to work like an artist. So here's the before, here's the after. Already the attention is going towards her, but we do need to create a spotlight behind her, otherwise it starts to look fake. With the curves adjustment layer selected, press Ctrl or Command G. Why are we putting this into a group? So that we can have 2 masks for the same layer. So with the group selected, let's click on the mask button right here. Now inside of this mask, we're going to create our spotlight. Select the gradient tool right here. Pick a gradient from black to white. And now you want to make sure you have your radial gradient selected, not the linear one, the radial one. And just click and drag like so. Wonderful, wonderful spotlight, isn't it? Now you can stretch it, you can squish it. That is up to you. So I'm going to keep it this way. There you go. So this is 2 levels of light. So let's make it this much. Keep it right here. You can make it even thinner or larger. That's up to you. Now this seems to be about right. Now have a look. So this is our first spotlight, first level of light, and this is our second level of light, thus creating a wonderful spotlight effect. And here's the overall before, and here is the after. Fantastic, isn't it? Now, if you do want the spotlight at the back to be not that bright, here's what you can do. Select the mask of the group and then open up the properties right here. If you don't see the properties, go to Window and you want to make sure properties is checked and then just simply decrease the density right here. The density is like opacity for the mask. So if you decrease the density all the way to 0, it's like there was nothing in there. But if you increase the density, it's all of it. So you can reduce it accordingly. 64 is nice. That's wonderful. So here's the before and here is the after. she's getting the spotlight she deserves. Now, sometimes our images do need a little bit of color boost, but we have to do it naturally. We have to enhance the colors in a way that it's not the glaringly leaking colors. So if you were to create a hue saturation adjustment layer by clicking on the adjustment layer icon and choosing hue saturation, let's make sure it's outside of the group at the top. And now let's just increase the saturation like that. At this point, it's completely leaking colors. Some areas are being oversaturated and it's just not looking right. We want to increase the saturation proportionately, with less saturated areas having less increase in color and more saturated areas having more increase in color. And how can we control that? With the help of a saturation mask. Let us delete this hue saturation adjustment layer by clicking or pressing the delete button. Now we need to create a stamp visible layer at the top. Here's how we do it. Press Ctrl, Alt, Shift and E with the topmost layer selected. This creates a merged layer of everything you see in the canvas right now. If for some reason you're not able to create it, create an empty layer at the top and then press Ctrl, Alt, Shift and E. That should do the job. Now let's go to Filter, Other, HSB, HSL. Now set the settings this way. You can also choose this one or this one. That is up to you. See which one gives you a better result. Hit OK. And there you go. Done. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? Well, of course not. So let's go to our channels. And this is just a representation. When you go to channels with this image, the red represents the hue, green represents the saturation, and blue the brightness or the lightness depending upon the setting that you chose. So if you select the green channel, notice the representation right here. The brighter an area is, the more saturated that area is. The darker an area is, the less colors or less saturated that area is. For example, have a look at the floor. It has less color, but have a look at her clothes. It has more color right here. So if you were to go back to RGB and turn this off, you will notice the same thing. This has more color than this floor right here, and we can use that to our advantage. Let's turn this back on. Go back to channels. If you don't see channels, go to window and you want to make sure channels is checked. Since we want to create a mask based on saturation and green represents saturation, hold the controller command and click on the thumbnail of the green channel. This will create a selection based on that. Once you have a selection, you can come back to RGB. You can just delete this. It doesn't even matter now. Make sure, by the way, the group is closed so that whenever you create a new layer, it's always on top of that. Now let's click on the adjustment layer icon and choose hue saturation. It will be created with that mask. Now let's go to the properties of hue saturation. And now if you increase the saturation, have a look. Look at the enhancement of the color. It's so darn natural. So I'm going to keep it at about 56. Looks fantastic. Let's have a look at the before and after. So here's the before. And here is the after the color. You can even go further if you wish to, like so. And if there was no mask, have a look, everything would be glaringly too much. And even when the floor didn't have much color, it just introduces too much blue in there. So let's turn on the mask by holding the Shift key and clicking on the mask. You can use the same shortcut to turn that off. And now I think for me, 56 or even higher, maybe we can go. 62 is nice. Want to have a look at the overall before and after? So here is the before and here is the after. Isn't she looking magazine worthy? From straight out of the camera to magazine worthy? Fantastic. Now this is one of those incredible features that is right in front of us, and yet many of us are just sleeping on it, completely ignoring it, and we shouldn't be. Have a look at this. So with the background layer selected, press Ctrl or Command J. Now, before we apply any filter, go to Filter, Convert for Smart Filters. Why? So that we can change the values later. Now let's go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter. Now, we know the general camera raw and how to apply that, but what we are talking about right here is something adaptive. So let's go to the presets section, zoom in, let me show you this. Scroll down and have a look at these adaptive presets. This should be built into the latest versions of Photoshop and Camera Raw. So if you open one of those adaptive presets like adaptive subject, inside of that, if you choose pop, it automatically detects the subject and adds pop to it. How wonderful. So here's the preview. Before, after. Have a look at that. Warm pop, you have soft something effect, glow if you wanted to add that. So let's just add a pop. Now here's the great part. You can control the amount of it. You can apply less of it or more of it. That is just insane. So I'm going to go with 112 and just with that, here's the before Here's the after, and it doesn't end there. Let's zoom in on the face. There's so much more you can do. So in the adaptive portrait section, you can enhance the entire portrait. Here's the softened look. You have glamour, polished, gritty look. I really like that. Let's go with the gritty one, but not that much. Maybe just a little bit. On top of that, have a look. Enhance eyes. Just click on it. Eyes are enhanced. And here's before, after. You can have more of it, less of it. That is up to you. You can whiten teeth with just one click. Before, after. So click on it. It's whitened. You can darken the eyebrows, or if there's a beard, there is no beard, but click on darken eyebrows. The eyebrows are darkened a little bit more, and you can have more of it or less of it, up to you. I want a little bit more textured hair. So you can scroll down and have a look at the hair section. Texture hair, smooth hair. Texture hair, smooth hair. You can go with whatever you like. Let's go with texture hair, but not that much. Just a little hair right there. And it just goes on and on and on and on. There is enhanced clothes. You can do that as well. Let's enhance it even more. There are so many adaptive ones. Now, this in the background, sometimes Camera Raw detects that as a sky because there are clouds in it, although artificial. Let's open adaptive sky and have a look. Blue drama, dark drama. It's just insane. Maybe storm clouds. Crazy. So let's go with, I don't know, it is so hard to choose. Let's go with blue drama, and you can have more of it or less of it. So I'm going to have it at about 106. Fantastic. And on top of that, you can just click and try dozens and dozens, actually hundreds of built-in presets right there. So maybe I'm going to open up deep skin. By the way, there are presets that are labeled deep skin, medium skin, light skin. It doesn't matter. Sometimes deep skin works great with lighter skin, and sometimes lighter skin works great with deep skin. So it doesn't really matter much. So in the deep skin section, this orange one is something that I'm liking. Let's click on it and apply a little bit of it. Not that much, just a touch. 32 is fine. And you can stop right here. There is so much that you can do. And if you want a little more attention towards the subject, remember we talked about attention going towards the brighter parts. Let's create a vignette. You can even scroll down and add a preset for it. Scroll down, and in here you have presets for grain, sharpening, vignette. So a light vignette or a medium vignette, you can add it accordingly. Let's add light, hit OK. And just with that, have a look at the before and after. So here's the before. And here is the after with just a few clicks. Now it might be a bit heavy-handed, so you can always decrease the opacity. So I'm going to go with probably, 65, 66. I don't like staying at 65. 66 is the number to be. The next tip is pretty obvious, and it also works on the same principle of getting the attention of the viewer towards that thing of beauty. And to get more attention towards that thing of beauty, we need to remove what? Distractions. And with the recent updates in Photoshop, this has gotten so much easier and faster. So have a look at all of these distractions. It might seem small, but it affects a lot. Here's this sign, here's the flag post, here are some lights. You might say, Unmesh, these are not distractions. Yes, I agree. Some of these may not be distractions, but sometimes it's about creating timeless photos where you don't introduce these technologies in here that tells the viewer about at what technological era this photo was taken. So let's remove anything that is distracting from this mighty wonder of architecture, even though it's a replica. First of all, let's press C for the crop tool. It is not straight, so click on straighten right here and create a straight line along the line that should have been straight. There you go, done. Hit enter or return. Now let's create a brand new layer by clicking on this button right there and choose the brand new remove tool. You want to make sure sample all layers is checked and see how easy this makes it. And all you have to do is to just loop around the object. That's it. And Photoshop takes care of the rest. There you go, wonderfully gone. Now there might be some areas, little areas here and there, but that's fine. And wonderful. Now you can do the same for the rest of the areas. Remove anything that is technology. I understand using technology to remove technology, but here we are. All right. Now this is very clinical and technologically advanced, so let's clean that up as well. So there you go in its pristine glory. Here is the before and here is the after. All clear. Before, after. Makes the image so much better, but let's not stop there. If you want it to be lighted by Not tube lights, but something warmer like old generation. So we can easily do it again with a preset. Remember, it's all about creating a timeless look. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose color lookup. And when you have used enough presets, you know which one does what. So let's click on the drop down and choose edgy amber. It makes everything warm and just one color, but we only wanted it in the bright areas. So again, double click on the right hand side of this layer, take it away from the dark areas by taking the slider of the underlying layer from left to right. There you go. You want to keep it just to this. Hold the Alt key or the Option key, click on the slider to break it apart and take it apart like so. Maybe something like this. That's not bad. Take it all the way through, hit OK. And this is of course too much. Let's decrease the opacity. Let's keep it at about maybe 60%. Now, even now, there is so much more we can do. Remember the presets that we talked about before? So press Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and E to create a stamp visible layer at the top. And before we apply any filter, don't forget, go to Filter, Convert for Smart Filters, hit OK. Now let's go to Filter, Camera, Raw, Filter. The first thing we can do is just separate the subject and just pop it. Let's go to the preset section and let's go to the adaptive subject. You can add a pop or you can add a warm pop. Why not? There you go. Add some adventure to this sky. Blue drama, what do you think about it? Dark drama. All of these, I love the blue drama. Let's keep it at that. You can even modify it to your heart's content. So let's go to the mask section right here where it says blue drama that we did to the sky. You can scroll down, make sure you select that, scroll down, and let's just increase the exposure a bit. There you go. You can even increase the contrast in there or scroll down and increase the clarity like so. Add so much more drama. Now on top of that, you can add whatever kind of preset that you like. Let's go back to the presets section, and it doesn't have to be limited to a category. This looks really good. Let's select that and add a little bit of it like so, maybe 56. Hit OK. And there you go. It is crazy good. So here's the before and here is the after. I have to do it again. Here's the before and here is the after. Now, sometimes we may go overboard with the camera raw, so you can decrease the opacity of this one and gradually increase it to something that you like. But I'm going to keep it at 100% for full effect. So there you go, my friend. 5 easy and simple things we can do to instantly improve any photo in Photoshop. I hope this one helped, and if it did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe. Ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other feature tips, tricks, or tutorials. I would like to take this moment to thank all of these nice and incredible people for making videos like this possible and supporting PiXimperfect on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.